revealed Trudeau spent $11 billion on overseas gender programs during his tenure. When he was elected, he promised
11,000 million. 11,000 million. See, 11,000 million.
Yeah. We get it. And the budget, I guess, didn't balance itself. He promised a budget to balance it by 2019. Over the last 10 years, the government of Canada, so when they say the government of Canada, that means you. I mean, every Canadian listening to this is you. This is your taxes. Over the last 10 years, the government of Canada has spent around $11.2 billion on overseas gender initiatives, focusing on projects directly targeting gender. Can you just, while I'm reading this, can you look up what a couple of our our big expenses are out of the say the annual budget? Like, what does this compare to healthcare, things like that? Focusing on projects directly targeting gender equality and women's empowerment is outlined in Canada's Feminist International Assistance Policy. The figure is a conservative estimate, as it primarily includes gender-targeted aid and doesn't account for the full value of gender-integrated projects, which could add billions more if fully calculated. Trudeau announced FIAP in the House of Commons in 2017, emphasizing Canada's commitment to gender equality. I mean, we're so committed to gender equality that boys can be girls and play sports against it. We are here today to launch Canada's Feminist International Assistance Policy, a policy that puts women and girls at the center of everything we do.
Unless you're playing sports.
In international assistance. Or you could just say you're a girl, it will give you the money. Because we know that when women and girls thrive, everyone benefits. Trudeau promised to balance the budget by 2019 during the 2015 election, but instead ran 9 consecutive deficits. The largest was in 23-24 with a deficit of $61.9 billion, the highest outside the COVID period. Annual deficits averaged from around $39 to $48 billion from 2020 to 2025. Driven by pandemic spending, infrastructure, and social programs. Federal debt doubled from $693 billion in 2015 to an estimated $1.4 trillion by March 2025. Per person debt rose by $14,127 from 2014 to 2024, with debt servicing costs hitting $53.7 billion annually in 24-25, or $1,301 per person per Canadian, more than the federal GST revenue. So they'd have to add an extra percent to the GST just to cover this. Pre-COVID deficits are smaller, $18 billion. Critics like the Fraser Institute argue much of the spending was wasteful, while Trudeau's government framed it as necessary for economic recovery and social equity.
Well, healthcare, for example, was $372 billion approximately in 2024. 12.4% of the country's GDP, I guess. This breaks down to approximately $9,054 per Canadian, with health expenditures representing. So get that, all you Americans.
Canadian? Wait, say that again.
So in 2024, Canada's total healthcare spending was estimated at $372 billion.
You have the screen now. You got to share the screen. You got to just do this whole thing now.
Well, okay.
Because I'm going to calculate what my family's, what kind of insurance I might be able to get.
Okay, it's Grok here. So, this breaks down to, that's the Canada Institute for Health Information. This breaks down to approximately $9,054 per Canadian, with health expenditures representing 12.4% of the country's GDP. The highest ratio outside the 2020-2021 pandemic period. Over 70% of this, so roughly $264 billion, was publicly funded through taxes, with provincial and territorial governments covering the lion's share, about $241 billion, and the federal government contributing through transfers like the Canada Health Transfer, which was $49.4 billion in 2023-24, and likely grew slightly by 2024. So, for a specific provincial example, Ontario.
So Canada's, just taxes, that's $6,600. So that was if every Canadian was a taxpayer, and every Canadian isn't a taxpayer. But let's just assume for the argument, every 40 million Canadian
That's
is
how that
paying
was.
taxes work out to 6,600 per year. So if I was paying 6,600 for
Yeah,
myself and for my family, what kind of coverage does that get? What kind of coverage can you get for $700 a month? And that'd be more because I have a family. So that'd be like for a single guy. What is it for a single guy? What does $650 a year get you? If you
yeah.
got a family, you're probably, 2.5 times that. So what can you get for like 15 grand a year or 18 grand a year? What kind of healthcare coverage does that get you?
Yeah. Besides access to a bunch of specialized care that you don't get in Canada. I mean, we don't want to get into the whole healthcare debate. We've done that enough times, but there is a big difference between the two. So, yeah, for a specific provincial example, Ontario, Canada's largest province, spent 4,889 per capita on healthcare in the 2022-2023 fiscal year, totaling around 73 billion for its population of roughly 15 million at that time. This was the lowest per capita health spending among Canadian provinces, yet it still accounted for about 40% of Ontario's overall budget. So I mean, it's still a lot of taxes and a lot of expense. So the 11 billion, it doesn't seem too great when you look at it. It's about 5%, or let's say 3%.
All right, my turn.
3% of healthcare budget spent on overseas gender stuff. I mean,
Let's jump. That's still a lot. I mean, what's the road budget? How does it compare to that? It seems probably as much as the highway budget. Are you checking?
yeah,
Are you asking Grok?
yeah,
Grok-a-lockin'.
yeah. I'm trying to learn how to use Grok a bit better. Oh wow, this is interesting.
All right, come on, spit out.
Well, they don't have a single, highway and roads budget, but for the federal side, take the 2023-24 fiscal year, the government of Canada, through Infrastructure Canada, allocated about 4.6 billion under the Investing in Canada Infrastructure program for various infrastructure projects, including highways and roads.
So
Not
twice
all this.
that. Almost
What?
three. They spent 3 times that
Yeah.
on
4.6.
feminism in Africa.
Yeah.